Let's have a short interview with the man himself, the man behind Kitani, behind New Wave Films, actor, writer, director of Kitani. Hello, Syafi Halim.
Hi, I am Syafi, and I am the producer, writer, director, actor in Kitani, and I'm in my bedroom, and this is Zoom, and hopefully you guys will enjoy this interview.
So, Syafi, for those of the audience that aren't sure who you are, can you explain that a little bit and how that led to the making of Kitani?
I've always had a passion for script writing and storytelling. In UBD, I finally had an opportunity to make a short film, so I took that opportunity to make Sympathy, a story about racism. Very risky at the time, and then basically that short film I uploaded to YouTube and it got a bit of traction. Hopefully you guys have watched it. Progressive Media approached me. They were like, hey, you want to make something under us? We're launching this new platform called Progressive Media. At the time, I rejected it because I really didn't know what to make, because I don't want to just take a project without having a project in mind. I went to sleep that night and I had a dream about watching this Malay zombie series on Netflix. And I woke up trying to watch this Netflix show that never existed in our realm of reality. And I just realized, I can just take the story. So I watched the whole episode 1 in my dream. So I wrote it in 15 minutes, the first script, the first draft at least. And after that, from that episode 1, I just continued to write 5 more episodes, and in total 6 episodes of Kitani. So yeah, that's what you guys will be watching this October, basically, the 6th episode of Kitani that I wrote, directed, acted, and co-produced.
So Syafi, you went from basically no experience at all to making a show within berapa tahun saja? Wow. How was your first full on-set experience like during Kitani?
I think this is what I prefer to highlight on. I think I get sometimes way too much credit with the projects I produce, and I think it's important to shed light on the crew. I didn't have any experiences. I'm the worst person in this industry when it comes to production. I have zero skills in production, at least before Kitani, that is. So yeah, as I said, after Sympathy, I had a lot of traction. So these people like Maman, Mantientry, Khalid Hashim approached me, said like, we're good with production. And yeah, I think it just made sense with Kitani, the scale of the project, and they're also around my age group. And yeah, we just got together and we just produced Kitani. And I think even we had such a young crew that our average age was around 23, 24. So yeah, that's such a young crew. And I was, funny enough, one of the youngest people in our crew as well. And yeah, it was very humbling to learn and to just see what the youth of the industry can produce, which is Kitani, and hopefully everybody will enjoy it.
So, speaking of youth, Syafi, you had your brothers with you for a lot of time you were on set. What was that like? And how long did it take to film all 6 episodes?
My little brothers being included in shoots. I have 3 little brothers, if you guys don't know. Atfi, Rifki, and Wifki. Creative names, I know. But basically, even for Sympathy, they were all 3 included in Sympathy, and now in Kitani, all 3 of them are also included in Kitani. I love to work with my little brothers. I'm quite close to them, and I think people always ask like, do you get frustrated with your little brothers more or whatever? In my opinion, I get frustrated with them as much as I get frustrated with the crew who's not working, or the cast who's not putting enough work. I really treat them as equals. I don't favoritize them as much, although sometimes I realize they're just 12, they're just 11. So I kind of, when we have breaks, I just sit down beside them and just, joke around about, I don't know, Marvel and stuff, and science, just the geeky stuff that they enjoy. So yeah, it's important to be a director and also a brother at the same time when it comes to little brothers that age. And in terms of the length of shooting, we shot for 6 weeks, 3 days each week, so it's 18 days in total. But in terms of adding the reshoots we had, so I guess it's around a month, so around like 25 days.
Awesome, great stuff, Syafi. For those people out there that have dreams and desires of making content but just haven't started yet, Is there any tips that you could give to help them, just get started?
I always say this, I don't want to make an advert for 6 weeks that people will only remember for 6 days. I'd rather put in a work for 6 months for a film that people will remember for 6 years of their lives, I think that's the mentality that I would like people to have, especially when you make films. I really believe the Bruneian market deserve great films, and I think are intelligent enough to consume great mediums. And yeah, secondly, I would say a lot of people complain that they don't have enough resources and stuff. And if you're watching this, you have a phone, If you have a phone, you have a phone camera. There's your camera. Do you have a friend? Then you have an actor. Do you have a house? You got a set. If that's still not enough, if you're still complaining, walk outside, and that's 2 sets. That's more than enough. But yeah, Sympathy was filmed all around my house with all my friends, and I think I was still able to tell a convincing story. Yes, you're not able to tell the more lavish, grandiose storylines with limited resources, but I feel like that's where your creativity comes in, when you're limited resources and you still have to make things work. If I waited for my first camera, I wouldn't have started my YouTube channel. If I waited for the best sound equipment, I wouldn't have made my first short film, Sympathy. If I waited for a big budget, $1 million budget film to make my first zombie series, I wouldn't have made Kitani. So I think this culture of just waiting for I'll wait for this, I'll wait for that, that is the one that kills you. And I feel like if you just start now, look at how many things I would have missed out if I just waited a little longer. Opportunities don't come every day, so you gotta snatch them when there's a chance.
Thank you for that, Syafi. So we actually have a lot of people who are tuning in right now to watch the first episode of Kitani. So for those who don't know what to expect, and those who have seen trailers, snippets of Kitani, what should we know going into this?
I think that's the best part. You don't need to know me, you don't need to know any of the cast to get into Kitani. I assure you, if you don't know me, if you don't know any of the cast, if you watch this series, you're gonna still feel like, wow, that's made by a Bruneian. At least I hope, because this is just so different. This is just so different from any other productions, any other storylines that Bruneians has created. And I would like people in the future to look back at Kitani and feel like that was really ahead of its time, And I really feel like after this, people will be more inspired to create more innovative storylines, more creative, more risk-taking. And yeah, I really hope Kitani is a pivot for a better industry in the future, at least better artistically.
Syafi Halim, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations on the world premiere of your first ever series.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.